My name is Jimmy Lemara, and this is my story. I belong to the Maasai people. I am a person born in the Maasai Mara, and so we have lions there, we have elephants, we have cheetahs, we have leopards. We respect nature. We are known for keeping our culture. We are a people who are very grateful for the future of the Maasai people. I wish we continue to be Maasai.
My name is Marc Horler, and welcome to Tell Me Your Story podcast. Today we're diving into the captivating world of wildlife and community with an amazing guest who hails from one of Africa's greatest wildlife reserves, the Maasai Mara in Kenya. This land is not just a place. It is a tribute to a vibrant native community known worldwide for its rich culture and traditions, the Maasai people. Our guest for today is Jimmy Lemara, who is a proud member of this tribe. Working with Safari Outfitters Game Watchers, he has been working for years as the manager of the giraffe camp in the Mara Ripoi Conservancy. For this new episode, Jimmy has agreed to take us on a journey through his life as a Maasai, sharing insights into his culture and ceremonies, and also the deep connections he shares with the amazing wildlife that has been part of his world all his life. As we embark on this journey together, don't forget to engage with our content, like, share, and comment to show support to our podcast. Thank you for listening, and welcome in a new story. I'm really excited to have you today, for this podcast. It's a great pleasure, even an honor, to have you today. We hear a lot about the Maasai in Europe, but people don't really know the culture, the meaning, some of the aspects of it. And in your case, obviously, hearing so much about you, the conservancy you manage, and everything I was, very keen to have you. So just thank you again.
Thank you very much, Mark.
As you can hear, I'm French, so I have a very strong French accent. So if you don't understand some of the words I'm going to say, don't hesitate to let me know because it happens sometimes.
I meet many people from different nationalities, and so I am used to different accents.
Okay. Even French people, I guess, sometimes.
I think I know some words.
It's a good start. It's good. It's a difficult language, to speak. So yeah.
I speak 4, so I think adding another one is not that easy at my age now.
Oh, you speak 4 languages?
Yes, I am a Maasai, so we have our own language. It's called Ma. Then Swahili is our national language. Swahili. Then we have English, and I speak one other tribal language.
Okay, wow.
Some words are used in many different languages, especially Swahili words, because Swahili words are from so many different languages. It's a trade language.
Okay.
So you can
I see.
pick some words in Swahili, and suddenly you're speaking in Arabic, or because it's a trade language.
You did mention, the Maasai language. I think for the audience to know, how does it sound, could you just tell us something in your language, maybe an expression or, anything, you want, and then translate it in English, if you can?
The most important word is Ashe Weleng, which means thank you very much. We are a people who are very grateful always. So that's why we say Ashe Weleng. It's very important to always remember Ashe Weleng. The only thing we don't have in our language, and I don't think there is any word, we can't find that one, is sorry, please. We don't have please. You want it, you get it. So I don't know, but Ashe Weleng, which is thank you very much, is always so important. Very, very important.
If you want to ask, kindly, or if you want to ask something with anger, it's going to be with the tone then. I guess just to make you understand better, it's like the tone, saying the please or not.
Yeah, but the way you ask for something, you just say jockey. So it's like give me, but in a very polite way.
Okay. As we've been talking about, you growing up in the Maasai culture and everything, I guess, maybe the first thing which will be interesting, for our audience is to understand what is, the Maasai. So could you say to us, who are the Maasai? Could you explain a bit?
The Maasai people are a tribe from Kenya. In Kenya, we have 44 different tribes. We are one of the tribes. We have our own language. And we moved from, I think, South Sudan. That's where we started many years ago. We were pushed towards the northern part of Kenya. And we kept moving south because we are people keep cows. And anywhere that is good for cows is good for us too. So we moved with our livestock. And now we settled on the southern part of Kenya. And we are cattle keepers. We keep cows, we keep sheep, and we keep goats. And that is our life. Now we do the tourism industry, but our very first life and what we all depend on is the cattle. So you are a Maasai and you don't have cows, you're not really proper Maasai. So we have to have cows here. And that's our livelihood. We get milk from our cows, we get blood from our cows, we get almost everything from our cows. And so we keep cows, and that's what the Maasai people do.
Does the word Maasai mean something specific?
No, but the area that we live in now called the Maasai Mara means the spotted land of the Maasai people. So it's just a name, a Maasai.
How would you say, the Maasai are different from the rest of the population in Kenya? What would be maybe the biggest, differences?
We have so many differences with other tribes. First, the language. We have our own language. Each tribe has their own language. And secondly, as mentioned earlier, we are cattle keepers. Some people are farmers. Some people are fishermen. And so for us, it's cattle, and we're known for keeping cows and for getting everything from a cow. We are also known for being a very fierce tribe because we're known for being a good fighting tribe. We can fight for our land. We can fight for our cattle. And so we're known to not talk with. So there are people who can be very fierce. So that's when well known. And the second thing is we're known for keeping our culture. And we are still trying to maintain, although there are a lot of pressures coming, but we have maintained it for a very, very long time. If we talk of culture, we're talking of dress, and we have a kind of a bond. In some instances, it's just for beauty, and in some areas, it means a lot, especially for the senior elders. Their beads and their clothing, this is called a shuka. This is cloth.
Okay.
But for young people, it's just for beauty.
Does it mean something for you?
For me, it's for beauty. I'm still a junior elder. So when I become a senior elder, my beads will mean something. So, we have stages. If we can go there then as well, because it's part of our tradition. We have stages in life. So a child is born, and usually there's a big ceremony, and that's the only birthday people have. There's never going to be any other birthday celebration. Then we have an age where boys are circumcised, then they become people who are out there and the defense of the community. And then from there, they become junior elders. And then from junior elders, they become senior elders. There is a big ceremony. And it's not like very personal, it's a community thing. So many people come together to celebrate.
Okay. And it's still ongoing for all the Maasai villages of the Maasai boys?
Ongoing, it is still seriously important to us. I think the only thing that I have seen changing is maybe the age of circumcision, because young boys are now circumcised, and before they were circumcised at the age of between 15 and 18 years of age. But now, because the schools, they go to secondary school at around 12 years. And so at that age, most of them get circumcised before they go to high school. Once they're circumcised and they're warriors, they have that feeling of being men and decision makers.
Yeah. So talking about the ceremonies, you did mention there are several ceremonies, and especially the 3 male rites of passage for the Maasai community and boys. I've tried to write, the names, but maybe my accent, won't be wrong saying it. Enkipata, Unuto, and the last one, Olngeser.
Olngeser. So Enkipata is, it's when you have all these young men going together during a time when they want to celebrate a graduating from being junior elders, from warriors to become junior elders. So it's called Enkipata. And and then the other one is Olngeser. So where did you get those ones?
I saw the names on the website when I was looking for traditions for the Maasai community, and so I was kind of interested about that, and actually as it is. Tell me your story. If we speak, let's say, about Enkipata, could you, from your memories, lead us through, this ceremony? What you felt? What was it like?
Those ceremonies are always very, very emotional because it brings a lot of people, and so there's a lot involved. Because for us personally, now when we have young boys in the village who are being circumcised and joining the age set that I sponsor or I am part of, we are the ones who do all the ceremonies. We know that We are the ones who hold them during circumcision. Personally, when I was doing this, when I was in the Enkepata, let's say, it involved so many young boys of the same age group and now getting ready to graduate to another level. And together with their sponsors, so our sponsors were a group called Seuri. They're very old now. We talk about 80s and around between 80 and 100. My father was actually one of those. And so we would go together. So not the normal village that we live in. We had to go to a different area and an area that is identified and always good for ceremonies. And we set up smaller temporary houses called Irmobori. So Irmobori is a very small house. Together with the Seuri and us, we will all live there between 3 months and a year, because there's a lot of collection. People coming from different villages and coming together. And so it's a huge boma. And a day of the ceremony then is a very, very busy day, because all the elders will come and a big cow is slaughtered. So it has to be a cow without any blemish. It has to be a pure cow. It has to have a color that is not spotted or any other color that you use. One color, either brown or black. And so blood is removed from the jugular vein of the cow. It's mixed with alcohol and some traditional medicine, and all the boys will have a drink of it, and they as well get a piece of meat each, and it's handed over by the senior elders.
What's the meaning, just to drink the blood?
It's more of an oath thing, putting the team together and sharing together symbolizes sharing of what is available. So drinking together and eating together is a symbol of living a life together.
At some point, like the boys are going, in the woods. What do you do in the woods? Like, do you stay all night there?
Yes, we go to a place called Orpul. So Orpul is like a meat camp. This place is a place that people go, separate themselves from the rest of the community, just go and live in the woods, eat nothing but meat and herbs from the trees. So all the trees that we have here are all herbal trees, and we know the roots and we know the barks that are good for drinking, and that prepares people. It strengthens them, especially for the warriors, because they must be strong to be able to protect the community. So they go to a place for sometimes for several weeks, up to a month, just eating meat, just staying there and feeling healthy.
The feelings that you might have when you are a young boy, going out, in the woods with no adults really. Talking about you, what was your feeling, going there? Because you are young, when you're doing this ceremony, so it might be a bit like, I don't know, difficult in a way, like what did you feel?
The thing is, always, it's a group of people. When you have a group, then there is that pressure of being in a group, and there is a feeling of some kind of safety in numbers. Also, when you have many people doing the same thing, then a lot of ideas shared. So you always feel really good and feel that you are given the responsibility to grow. And once you know that you're capable of, you're a strong man, that gives you a very good feeling. Especially you're in the bush there, it's very wild, there are animals, and the parents are aware of that situation and they want you to be there. You just feel strong.
Yeah, because even like in this place, you are like, you have the wildlife around in a way. Also the wildlife of Kenya around. So it's kind of, yeah.
And again, during that time, another, there was fun that people used to do. We don't do it anymore. Just to mention, we had one of the biggest game was to play with wildlife. Of course, hunting and, chasing them. So that was quite a lot of fun, very dangerous, but then you get to learn the survival techniques. At the moment, we don't do that. Like I've mentioned, we don't do that anymore, but that was a lot of fun. And while in the bush, there's always that activity of going out and chasing and being chased. It makes a lot of fun, and it trains you to become a man.
Okay. So have you been chased then?
How many times? Ooh.
Yeah. By what?
In here you have to be chased. Buffalo many times. Playing with the buffaloes isn't an easy thing. because they're the most difficult to bring down or hunt, or the most powerful animal. And so that is what we would also go for, try and see how strong we are. Also lions, you've probably read about Maasai killing lions. It's true, we used to do that. We don't do that anymore. And it always a lot of fun, the roaring of the lion or the growling of a lion when being attacked is something. So some people can run away, some people will show strength and then wait for them, lie down flat. So many people have survived that.
Wow.
So in my case, I have been chased several times, but managed to climb a tree as quickly as possible.
Okay, well, I guess you need to learn so many skills and like to run fast, to climb up a tree, to
look into the eyes of some of the animals. Some of the animals, you don't look into their eyes because they will always want to prove that they are stronger than you. Some animals, you want to pretend as if you don't see them. If you are walking and towards one direction, you must continue walking the same direction and pretend as if you don't see them.
Okay. I was gonna say what kind of animals? Yeah.
A leopard, if you see a leopard, you happen to see a leopard, you must pretend that you haven't seen them. They will always hide. When you have an eye contact with them, then they can easily charge.
What would be maybe the most dangerous animal in the bush?
I would say it's a buffalo. Buffaloes charge and they are happy to charge. And they can wait to charge. Other animals, you surprise them or you have approached them in a way that they're not happy, or you've gotten too close to their cubs and they can't run away, or you are just bothering them so they charge. But when a buffalo sees you, they will try and hide and wait for you to come. I mean, they just like to fight. So I think they are the most dangerous, but there's always another sign of knowing their presence in an area you are. They are always followed by birds called the oxpeckers. So if you know how to read that sign, then you will be able to know that a buffalo is there and you stay away from that location. But if you don't know, a buffalo will always sit there and wait for you. They don't run away. Not like other animals. This time they run away, but buffalo, no. They're happy to see you come towards them.
Wow. It's interesting, you're talking about this because I would like now just to speak about this specific bond, between the Maasai and the wildlife. How would you describe, this specific bond, that you have, even more interesting for you because you are the manager of a conservancy. So I guess it's also your passion.
So, before the creation of conservancies, we lived another life and now we live a different life. First of all, we've always respected wildlife, and that's why we have them on our land. We never really hunted them to clear them. It was just like those animals that were dangerous, and we wanted to prove that we were also stronger than them. And also when you have these animals that come to the villages to attack livestock, they are usually old lions, old hyenas, old cheetahs, old leopards who are not capable of bringing down wildlife. And so they go for what they think is easier prey. And that has always been like their sort of way out. It's taboo in our culture. It's not allowed for any Maasai to eat any wild game. So we don't eat any meat from any animal. We're not allowed to do that by tradition. And right now, we are conserving wildlife. We have so many different conservancies within the Mara ecosystem. What happens is people, demarcated all the land, given to people, and people have title deeds, and then people have brought their titles together and agreed to form conservancies. And so right now, conservancies have programs where people are compensated for the livestock they lose to wildlife. There is no such enmity between us and wildlife. I mean, it has never been there. We respect what is supposed to be respected, and any animal that respected us, we respected.
Okay. And it's also interesting because it's not only the wildlife, but also the plant life, what is, around you and what you use. So how do you come, with this, knowledge, as well? And especially yourself, because it's something I saw in some videos of you, I think on YouTube, you were explaining in a video, okay, it is a tree where you have ants in it and the ants are protecting, the tree, something like this. So how do you come with such a knowledge, I would say?
Growing up with the animals and all these plants around us, we grew up with them. Right now, you can see giraffes. There's a group of giraffes right there. My kids are seeing them. They're just 100 meters from the house. And so we have this wildlife here. So you can imagine the children who are growing right now, they would learn that behavior of the giraffe. They would always learn to see them eating and what they eat, the kind of trees they select. And so it's a matter of translating it. We also hired herbalists. My father, he knew all the plants and their uses. And so he passed it on to us. What tree I would go for if I wanted to, if I had a backache, if I had like a headache. So all these plants are here. We had people who tried so many and maybe came up to know what is good and what was bad. And for us, we are happy that we learned from those who already experienced, and now we know all of them.
So as you say, yes, there is like, there are specific people like, with this knowledge and like passing them through generations and generations. And what was for you, like, I don't know, how did you end up, wanting to become a manager of a conservancy and being a guide, like, because not all Maasai, are guides or, manage a conservancy, like even if like they grew up with like the wildlife around them. So what was like, the specifics, for you, all your love, for the surroundings that you have around?
So yeah, personally, I grew up knowing all this. Personally, I think it started when I was in high school. Even though I grew up with them, I got a subject that was so connected to what I already knew from my local knowledge. Biology was my best subject. I so good for. And so when I found this biology and go to do the classification and all that, it's so detailed of what I already knew. It made it so easy for me to translate. And so once I started to translate, I began seeing that this subject is so deep, it never ends. There's so many new things. You get to learn every single day, and there's a lot to learn. And the love for wildlife, especially, I love animals. I wake up in the morning and I see them. I have always had that love for the animals. I have connections for some, like very strong connections for some animals, lions especially, the lions. But one particular pride.
How would you describe, this relationship?
Yeah, this pride lives in a place, in Kenya Conservancy. It's a pride that started small, it became so successful, and they became a very big pride. They have gone through so many challenges while I followed them. I've seen them being happy. I've seen them being sad. I've seen them in all sorts of the lion's life. And I personally was so lucky to be one of the people who named them, because we named them to be able to identify them. And I named so many of them. And that gave me so much connection to this particular pride. So it's called the Sambuyankare Breakaway Pride.
How did you decide, to name the lions? Like, what kind of names, did you give them?
So we look at their behavior. If one lioness, so there's one lioness called Nempiris, an example called Nempiris. Nempiris in our culture is somebody who's so peaceful, and or the one that brings peace. So this lioness is a strong lioness, and she brings peace to the rest of the pride. And every other time, conflict, so there's some fighting, she's just right there in the middle and bringing peace. And there's another one called Nara, who is actually the keeper or the one that hunts for the rest of the pride, for the whole pride. She's one of the best hunters. The whole pride looks upon her when it comes to finding food. So you will see her most of the time making decisions on where to go and the direction the food is. So she's always so much ahead and knows what the pride needs. So we look at those and we look at the notches to be able to identify them, but it's more behavioral. We look at their behavior just like human beings, and it gives us so much connection because then we call them by names.
And so like, from the pride, I guess, there are lions that you've been like, so them since like you're quite young.
They don't live. The thing is, they don't live for a long time, but you see them grow. Lions go through so many challenges. One of the biggest challenges is the young males getting pushed out of the prides, or older males trying to get into prides, or lionesses accepting a new male. All those are big challenges, especially lionesses accepting new males who are now going to be in charge of the pride, especially when they have young cubs, because the cubs get killed to bring the females into estrus so that they can mate with the new males and have their own cubs. So those challenges, and I have seen them doing that. I've seen lionesses faking to mate to try and impress the new male so that they hide their cubs from being killed. And they can go out, leave the cubs somewhere hidden, pretend as if they're ready to mate with maybe a random male who is walking, so that they can keep them away from the young ones. So that kind of a feeling makes me so close to this land. But I've seen so much about it. I've also seen males who took over that pride, kill the cubs, and actually eating the cubs. So saw them eat the cubs. They don't just kill them; they just chew them. So start to intimidate the females and make sure they bring them to submission.
Okay. It's so as you said, like, you're surrounded by, so many, amazing wildlife, and you work, in the conservancy, the Old Kinay Conservancy. Could you tell us a bit about, the specific of this conservancy? What can you see there? What's the specific, of it?
So Old Kinay is an area of 20,000 acres. That's quite a big land. It has got different habitats. We have some hills, we have plains, lots of topi, cells. We also have wildebeest on the plains. Then we have water courses or little streams where mostly cats occupy, like the lions. And so we have lions there, we have elephants, we have cheetahs, we have leopards. At the moment, we have a leopard with one cub. Sadly lost one cub, another cub a week ago to lions, to that pride of lions. And that is what happens because they kill them to reduce competition. And so that conservancy offers a lot. There's just so many wildlife. You cannot go anywhere without seeing an impala or a tombstone gazelle or a warthog. It's so densely populated and it's very, very pretty.
It's different from the other, reserves and safaris, I guess, because it's also like a walking tour safari. So you can walk, actually in the bush with you.
We control the number of vehicles by every sighting. So some off-road driving is allowed. If you see something and you want to go and see it, you can drive to it. And so that makes it a very, different from the reserve because the reserve has too many vehicles. So off-road driving cannot be allowed. So if you see a lion in the grass, you can't really get close to them. We also can extend our game drives till night. So we can do night game drives in the conservancies. You can't do that while in the reserve. We also do walking safaris, and walking safaris are very interesting. You get to learn the little things that you don't usually see while you are in the vehicle, and you get to smell things, touch things, just see a lot that you don't usually see. So walking safari is also available, and we can walk on the plains, we can walk to the top of the hill. There's so scenic places that you can walk to, and so it's very, very pretty.
Okay. It's a good, message for, the audience if they want to visit, the conservancy and have you as a guide then.
Yeah.
We come soon to an end. So it's now time for what I call, the audience's moment. It's basically people listening to this podcast, they've been submitting some questions to me for you. So I have picked some. And so I'm going to ask them to you, and this way they can have some answers. My first question would be, when would be the perfect moment to visit the reserve and the conservancy?
From June all the way to October. That is when wildebeest are coming from the Serengeti in Tanzania into Maasai Mara in Kenya. I think that is the only best time there, although there's going to be very, very many people also trying to get to see the migration. June is also very long grass, so not so easy to see anymore. In the conservancy, I would say all year round. Just need to choose if you want to come during the rainy season, which might be a little difficult. I think that is the only challenge, the rains and or the dry season. The rain seasons begin in April. That's why all the camps are closed now. April and May is usually our long rain season. And from June all the way to October, just some short rains, but not really much. It's hot. And December, January, very hot season. And then, up to February, still very hot.
What will be maybe the best part, in your opinion, of being a Maasai?
I think the culture, the traditions that we have always been brought up with, the respect that we have for people, animals, and the land that we live in. That is the biggest thing. We are a very respectful group of people. We respect nature. We are only so proud of being ambassadors of places like these conservancies that are bringing people, and everybody loves them because of what we believe in. We don't want to destroy things. So I think that is one best thing about it. Make sure that we are restricted in areas that we live in. You're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. And we are still keeping. So that is probably one of the best, because we are seeing other communities beginning, like I told you earlier, that diluting culture.
Yeah.
And once you dilute and then you begin to stay away from what people believed in, then it becomes very difficult.
What do you wish, for the future of the Maasai people?
For the future of the Maasai people, I wish they continue to be what they are. And I wish that they continue to save the land, they continue to keep it and not sell it. And they continue to pass on the traditions, the culture, and everything to the generations to come. They continue to be Maasais.
That's a good wish. Thank you very much. It is the end of this podcast, and it has been a real pleasure and really an honor, to speak with you, Jimmy. Thanks a lot, to you for sharing, your culture, your life, your traditions and ceremonies. Ashe Olin, Jimmy. Olin. Ashe Olin.
Ashe Olin.
Ashe Olin,
Ole
Jimmy.
Sere.
Ole Sere. Okay. Ole Sere, Jimmy. Okay. Thank you, Jimmy.
Ashe Olin. Real pleasure. Ashe Olin.
Thank you everyone for listening and joining us on this amazing story through Maasai culture, rich traditions, and deep connections to nature. Next month, we'll have the pleasure of welcoming a member of the Maori community from New Zealand. Together, we'll explore their rich culture and dive into the fascinating world of the haka and its true significance. If, like other listeners, you have interesting questions you'd like to ask our guests, feel free to send them via social media or email at m.tellmeyourstory@hotmail.com. We'll select the 3 most compelling questions from the list. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcast. Your feedback is always appreciated and help us to grow and improve. Thank you, and see you soon for a new story.